This program is brought to you by Emory University.
It is my pleasure to welcome everyone here this morning, and of course, special pleasure and honor to welcome you, Holiness, to be with us today. By the way, this is a return for His Holiness for the second time in a capacity as a presidential distinguished professor of Emory University, and we put him to work while he's here, lecturing and teaching. His scholarship does not rest. This is a natural outgrowth, however, of a long-standing relationship between Emory and Tibet. The Emory-Tibet Partnership officially goes back 15 years. It's been an opportunity for our faculty and students to visit and learn in Dharamsala, where he was already being a professor, and an opportunity for monastics and students from Dharamsala to have visited Emory. Perhaps one of the most concrete outgrowths of that partnership has been the Emory-Tibet Science Initiative. And I hope His Holiness will say a little bit more about that, but it has been an opportunity for Western ways of knowing and Tibetan Buddhist ways of knowing to work together. And in fact, it is my pleasure to provide for you the fruits of the next editions of the textbooks, which have been prepared as a result of that partnership. And so, as you receive those, I will pass also the microphone to you. These are beautiful.
Good.
Please.
Indeed, I'm very happy once more here. And as President mentioned, yesterday airport, I just expressed my university.
That's right. He said, my university. And that's correct.
However, right from the beginning, I always describe myself as a hopeless professor.
No.
So in any way, the last now several years, as our close to the contact, then you see produce book in Tibetan about modern science. So now, for example, this.
Brain Fact. It's a translation of the textbook.
Oh, if I go little bit sort of the background, last more than 30 years, you see, I start a dialogue with a modern scientist, mainly 4 fields: cosmology, neurobiology, and physics, like quantum physics, and then psychology. Because these 4 subjects in Buddhist sort of literature, Buddhist text also is mentioned these things. So this is something, a common subject. Then, as a result of this meeting last now, I think from the contact start, it became clear, very useful for us learning from modern scientific sort of knowledge, mainly external matters. Then Buddhist science, of course, as far as sort of material, external matter, particle is concerned, although the Buddhist literature, Buddhist text also is mentioned last 1,000 years, but the scientific sort of explanation on the basis of their finding is extremely useful. Then, mind is concerned, the Western psychology or Western sort of knowledge about its emotion, mind, these things, in a way, just beginning. So here, Buddhist information about emotion and also how to tackle, you see, different emotions. In India, 1,000 years, the tradition of a practice of samadhi. Samadhi means concentration.
Single-pointed concentration.
Single-pointed concentration, and also analytical sort of meditation that called vipassana and samadhi. These, irrespective of whether Buddhist or non-Buddhist, these are common practice. So there are a lot of sort of the information about emotion, about mind, about nature of mind, and how to tackle. So that eventually, number of scientists really showing interest. And then last is a few years, like Wisconsin University and Stanford University, already you see carry some program, some through joint effort. You see, about the, I think, firstly, I think relation between mind and brain, and certain sort of mind, like compassion, how much would effect on the body element, right? Like that. Meantime, Tibetan Buddhist community, a Buddhist sort of institution in India, originally I initiated, me personally, personal sort of out of curiosity, like that. Then eventually, more and more sort of the scholars from our institution now really appreciate the explanation, scientific explanation. At the beginning, little hesitate, but then eventually, now everybody accepted. It's very useful. Therefore, now we already introduce the lesson about science. Last, I think, 6-7 years to selected sort of student.
In the monasteries.
Monastic sort of student. And then we are thinking, now actually in our monastic institution, the lesson of modern science must include.
In the curriculum.
In the curriculum. So for that reason, now this university, immense help, you see, to produce these sort of textbook for 5 years, right? So it is really wonderful. So I very much sort of appreciate all your sort of help.
Our pleasure.
Very, very helpful. I think I can say, I think 2,600 years sort of Buddhist tradition. Now I think the new subject now included or coming. This is something I think we can say historic.
Historic, yeah.
Historic. A historic change.
So that is, I think, the result of our contact.
Yes.
And this certainly be a great contribution for promoting knowledge, the science field, and Buddhist sort of science field, like that.
Together. Both directions.
Together, yes.
Both directions. Yeah.
That.
Yes.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.